Guys, how we doing? We're going to start with an underarm pass and then go into our first stretch. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4 off of a handshake hold. Second stretch, 7, 8, 1, 2. Again, free spin, original hand hold. Third stretch, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Show you on the other side. Phrasing. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. First stretch, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Handshake hold. Second stretch, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And our last stretch, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. All right, let's break it down. Alright guys, how's it going? We're going to break down those 3 stretch moves that you saw us do. So the stretch move is an 8 count move. It involves 4 walks and 2 triple steps in a slightly different arrangement to what you might see a whip. And although this is an 8 count move and you pass your partner twice, I wouldn't consider it a whip. You know, I've heard some people that consider any 8 count move that has, 8 counts that passes your partner twice, they make that a whip. And I'm like, well, to me this isn't a whip. This is a stretch, or maybe a breakaway move. So the first thing with the first first stretch that we're going to work on is to really learn how to hold your partner's hand. So I always imagine like reaching back to offer my hand to somebody, and you can see Fab's just, clasping her hand around mine. And do make sure that the thumbs are interlocking, like your friends, because we see a lot of awkwardness here, and sometimes I'm not a big fan of just grabbing the wrist. That doesn't look very nice. Could you imagine grabbing your wife or girlfriend by the wrist and then walking down? It's not a good look at all. So, hands and this clasp is what we're looking for. So we also need to impart some rotation as we do this, okay? So to help appreciate that, what we do when we lead a whip is we rotate our partner to their right as we go into it. 1, 2, 3, and a 4. There's some other moves like a double outside turn. 1, 2, 3 and a 4, 5 and a 6. And all these moves have got something in common. And that is just at the end of your anchor step, we're going to open up our free shoulder. And this is a bit of a pre-action that lets your partner know that we're going to be rotating. Okay, so in your whip and your double outside turns, try to consider that. And hopefully, if you've already got it, you can bring it into your stretch move right now. So I'm going to lead Fab forward onto the one with rotation as I offer my second hand. So Fab turns and takes my hand on her second count. I just recover my weight onto my right foot. As Fab moves back in a walk-walk rhythm or a 3-4 timing, I'm going to step forward on my left foot. I'm going to make sure that I project my head back towards my partner just to be considerate. This is social dance practice. I'm not here to put on a show. My hips are still facing where I want Fab to end ultimately, but I'm going to check back to just make sure everything's good. And then we free spin for 5 and 6. And then 7 and 8. In this case, guys, we're going to offer a handshake hold. We could, in fact, do anything with the end here, make it a scroll even if we'd like. But just to keep things within some sort of containment, we're going to go to a handshake hold and go straight into our next move.
Yeah.
Okay?
Followers, I just want to mention a couple of things in this first pattern. So when Lee offers his hand on count 2,
one end up.
my arms, where my frame is, I'm just continuing it, and I'm seeing the hand and I'm placing the hand. If followers, try not to reach for it a little too early, okay? Because we're not going to see it until as we're rotating, okay? So 1, there's the hand, okay. And I can place my hand where my leader needs it, okay? And then also, just going through the steps, it's forward, back, back, forward, okay? So that's really, really important to know. So I go forward, I start my rotation, I step back. From here, I step back once again, and then you'll see me have rotation to build all that connection there. And then a forward, and then we have 2 triple steps to exit. Cool.
Cool, sweet. So there's our first move. We'll show you again on the other side and all that. But let's move to the second stretch combination. So this is starting from our handshake hold where we find ourselves finishing. Now, just before we go into the move, I want you guys to practice this. Just taking your hand up to the ceiling and then releasing a little bit like a firework, so then it moves out sort of on its own, and we can change the hand and practice that once again. Now, what you should see with us is as our hand goes up, we're not going to let it go over our head. We're going to let it go out to the side, So that creates a little bit of a circular sort of motion. It goes up here. We don't want to break frame, so we're going to let it go out to the side. Okay? Now, what we might be able to do to get it to go behind us is to bring our arms up here. As we let go, now we're going to rotate through our shoulders. And we're still going to bring our arm down to the side. But obviously now we've rotated through our spine, the side can be perceived as behind us from an audience. So that's a very useful kind of tip to just remember when you're seeing some of the things maybe on YouTube or from your teachers, is try to get the finer details. Obviously, if we just move our arms here, this puts us in a pretty precarious position. So make sure you're rotating your shoulders. And also, if you know a crossbow whip, that might look something like this. Okay? Not what we're doing today, but a cool little move. Now, it's important that I don't confuse these two things, okay? The students of our regular classes have had a bit of difficulty. They've been sort of making a reverse whip type movement and then letting go of the hand afterwards. And this is just making it a little bit more difficult. Sometimes the followers have read it as a whip, and we'll come to that in just a moment. Yeah, what I'm trying to do is, again, impart direction and rotation on the first count. So at the end of the first count, I can actually release Fab's hand before she does the turn. Okay, so that's really the trick, guys, is to do all of the work during count 1 Eander, and then as soon as count 2, or before count 2 is happening, I've let go of the hand, and I've transferred what Fab needs to know. And then it's down to Fab to be able to interpret that and make it her own. So we'll go through that again. That goes a 1 Eander, 2 Eander, and the same footwork as before, same sort of shaping. I'm going to look back to my partner. And for the sake of our combination here, we're doing a free spin. But actually, that wouldn't be my regular practice. If I'd switched to my left hand, I'd probably keep it. Okay? But our combination didn't have a left to left hand stretch. I suppose it could. Looks something like that. Yeah? But again, it's just not the best hand transition back, except for just practicing the moves, I suppose. Okay, so our third move. We're going to walk in on 1, 2. And basically, I'm leading this whole stretch with our original hand hold. And then to give it a little bit more dressing, a little bit more dynamic maybe, I'm going to bring in my free arm and just use it to create an extra secure connection in the partnership. I might like to delay how long we spend in that stretch. You know, that would be a good way to do that to help really slow the partnership down and maybe spend 4 beats instead of 2 beats, or change the rhythm of any kind. Again, guys, we're looking for a very, very nice transition of, use of hands. We're not looking to grab our partner's hand. I'm not reaching over and at the back. What I've been sort of inclining to people is, imagine that you were trying to like stretch, just gently stretch the joint. So I have my hands, my fingertips, again, a little bit of a resistance, like I was massaging my partner's forearm, and that's sort of what I'm looking to do, to create tone in the muscles rather than to grip my partner, okay? So that's all 3 of our stretch moves. We're going to quickly run them through from the other side so that you get a little bit of a breakdown from this angle. So 1, 2, 3, and a 4, 5, and a 6 just gets me across a couple of measures of music. 7, 8, 1, 2 is our first stretch. 3 and 4 to handshake hold. 5 and 6. We can go straight into our second one here. 7, 8, 2 stretch, and then again free spin. Picking up original hand hold, 5 and 6. Here's our third stretch, 7, 8, third stretch, triple, and anchor step. Cool. All right, guys, you're going to see us doing that to music once again in just a moment. All right, guys, how are we doing? We're going to start with an underarm pass and then go into our first stretch. 7, 8, 3 and 4 off of the handshake hold. Second stretch, 7, 8, 1, 2. Again, free spin, original hand hold. Third stretch, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Show you on the other side. Find my phrasing. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. First stretch, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Handshake hold. Second stretch, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And our last stretch, 7, 8,